So I'll just go over this real quick. This is the map right here, and there's a pin there. This listing on the bottom is typically where all your sites are going to be. Right now there's just one site there. I'll tap on that one, and you can see all the customer's information from Safe gets pulled in, their phone number, any notes, if you have to call first or not, when the inspection's due. This right here is the last time we were out there, so you can see the last time the inspection was entered into ARTIC. So if you haven't visited yet in ARTIC, that's not going to be there, but it will show you next time. Notes from Safe are here, if you got to call first, everything like that. Now to input an inspection report, just tap the input button, and then you can start putting the report in. So chlorine, you can note that amount there. If there is a drip field where there's no chlorine, or just any reason that you don't have a chlorinator, just uncheck that box. And basically you're skipping all those fields. If there is chlorine that you have to measure, then you can check the box back on, put your measurement in, say if this is low or empty or whatnot. Liquid chlorinator, you can check this operational and non-operational. If you added chlorine, you can check that box. And then you can move on to the sludge levels. Whoops. Here you can note these as non-applicable, which is NA in the Safe program. You can say no access. For instance, if the riser is buried, so in Safe, whenever you print that report out, it'll say no access instead of saying NA, or instead of saying 40%, 23%, it'll just say no access. Clarifier tank, same thing there. This goes in percentages. Pump tank uses inches. These three toggles are the same: no access, NA, or a reading for each one of these. So I'm going to put in all three readings. I can get to 2 tanks, but I can't access the treatment tank. Let's see here. Turbidity and odor, if those are good, those are usually good, so you leave them on. Pump system, if you need to pump the system out, if it's, high solids, for instance, then you could check that box there. Let's see, air system. Air pressure we measure in inches, so it's not PSI on this bar. Inches is more accurate than PSI, but for instance, 60 inches is about, I think, 2.5 PSI. So if you have a problem with that, just let me know. I might be able to adjust it or something. Let's see, diffusers, if those are good or bad, you can check that. Aerator, operational, non-operational. Filter, if you change filter, you can leave that checked. If the filter is bad or missing or something like that, you can uncheck it. Air system, if you do not have, let me just go over this checkbox right here. So if you're inspecting in a RECO system, there's no air pressure or diffusers really to check. So I have that checkbox there, so you can just kind of skip those parts of the air system, but you can still note the aerator itself as operational. Other components, so these are just effluent filter, like on a drip field, for instance, you'd have that. Let's see, alarm system, control panel, electrical circuits, that kind of stuff. The middle is NA, so that would say NA in Safe. On the report, it wouldn't show up on the report. This is non-operational, and that's good. That's operational. pH, if you have to test pH, especially in Harris County, you got to test pH, so you can put that in there if you need it. Otherwise, you can just leave it off. If you did repair, so let's say you fixed a spray head, for instance, you can check the distribution system. Or if you fix the spray head and replace an aerator, you can note those in this list right here. And that will update Safe saying as corrected on site. The lids, so make sure that's always, secured before you leave the site. You can check that. By default, it goes to yes. If there's a broken lid or something, you can just do no, and it won't mark it as being secured. You can report the system to the county, which automatically creates a new task for it, so that you can see there's a problem there, and the county can see there's a problem there as well. If you just want to track the problem, internally without reporting the site to the county, then you can just check new task and you can make a new task on this report. So let's just say there's a broken spray head, or let's just say you fixed the broken spray head and aerator. So I'm going to make a new task saying we need an invoice for that. So I'm just going to say replaced aerator. And then I'll make a new task. You see that box is checked, the green check mark. So whenever I press save inspection, you'll see the blue bar across the top is loading. So it's saving that report to the cloud. And then you'll see the home page come back up. Report is saved, and that new task you created is popped up at the bottom here. So we can go ahead and say replace the aerator plus spray head. I'm just renaming the task itself because ARTIC tries to guess a good name for it, but likely you'll have to adjust it a little bit. So replace aerator and spray head. Need to make invoice. Customer approved on site. And I'll just save that note to the task. And I could add photos if I wanted to by tapping that button. New image, and then I can take a photo with my camera, or I can go to my photo library and select a bunch of them at once. The camera, you can only press one photo at a time. You can only upload one photo at a time if you use camera. If you go to photo library, you can actually select like 10 files at a time. So that's nice. Now, at the end of the day, if I'm done my route and I have no more inspections to do, but I have more time to do them, like I'm looking for more work to do, I can go to this all sites toggle and turn it on. And then it will find all the sites around me. It'll start loading pins on the map that are in my area, and I can find more work to do basically, and go ahead and input those as well. You can tap to go to the site. Takes to Google Maps. You can tap to call. Launches your native dialer. We also have Open Phone. It will launch Open Phone if you have that. Or you can skip. So if it's on your route, if it was on your route here, but you couldn't get to it for some reason, you can just skip it, and that would take it off your route. If you need to find a specific site, like for a repair or something, you can search by last name or by site address. Pretty easy to find sites there. Let me actually pull one up. 1 second. So just pulls up their information. You can input or go right there from that page. Photos tab. So this is going to pull in all the photos that you've uploaded. And if you want to see all the photos from everyone in your company, you can toggle this over to all photos. Photos are automatically tagged to their task. So if I pull up, let me see this one for instance, you can see the linked task is a real estate inspection that I did. This one is just linked to a site, not a task. So you can see it's linked to that customer. And if I tap that, then it'll actually pull up the customer's information. You have the feed, which is basically all your tasks in a single feed right here, so you can see them in one spot. And it pulls up the task. This is the one I just made right here. You can make new notes to it if you want to. You can see photos if they've been added to it. Basically just what's happening in general with that site. You can see who made the additions, like for instance, who made the comment, when it was made, what time it was made, that kind of thing. I think that's pretty much the main parts of the app here. If you have an Android, you can toggle that, switch over to Android. That just makes the links and everything work for Android phones. Your company information is right here. You can use this quick bar right here at the bottom right, that yellow circle. You can tap that, and that will actually let you make a task real fast. So if you want to note a repair or just anything in general without actually attaching it to a task, like let's say you have a new customer that just called in and you don't really have them in ARTIC, you can just tap new task, give it a name, and then press new task. And you can just make a task right there and add the notes and everything to it without having to have a site already uploaded. So that's kind of handy. And if you have any questions, just text me or call me.